Hello and welcome everyone, my name is Meepolis and this is Literally Graphic. Today we will be finally talking Blackathon TBR, and as always I'm giving it a comic book twist, of course. As some of you are no doubt already aware, Blackathon started last year, and this year it is once again being hosted by Jesse of Bowties and Books alongside Lauren of the novel Lush. Link below to the full announcement video if you haven't already gotten started. The readathon goes for all of February, and there are a variety of challenges across Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, so there's still, as of the posting of this video, plenty of time. For our purposes, I will be focusing on Team SFF on YouTube, but there's also a Team Contemporary Literature that you could go with too. The first challenge for Team SFF is one that threw me for a bit of a loop, if I'm being honest, but it's all worked out in the end. This first challenge is entitled Janelle Monae, Read Something Sci-Fi Fantasy, including a queer black protagonist. The book that kept coming to mind that I just re-released the review of is World of Wakanda by one Roxanne Gay that is queer as flick and out for blood. Besides that, I was mostly just drawing a blank, even via the Google, in regards to confirmed queer black science fiction fantasy comics, until I came across the webcomic Dragon and Silk, which is NSFW/BTW, which is described as sort of a cross between Slayers, Lotus War, and Lesbian, which started in 2017 and is now 290 pages long and still going strong. Unsurprisingly, as the creator of a couple NSFW webcomics, I've had no luck figuring out who is creating these things, so no idea if this is a hashtag own voices or not. Less than ideal, but not a requirement of this challenge, apparently. Moving on to the next challenge, it's named for Nnedi Okorafor. Read a work of Afrofuturism centering a complex and advanced society. And I went with the easy answer, obviously, and we'll be reading Shuri, The Search for Black Panther, which is by Nnedi Okorafor. Such is life, I will report back. The third of the four challenges is named after David F. Walker. Read a SFF comic graphic novel by a black author with a black protagonist. Anna Goldberg has done a whole video of books that fall into this category. Many of them I need to add to my TBR. I was on a bit of a webcomic roll though, so I ended up going with The Substitutes by Misha Haynes. The synopsis of this comic is a bit longer and is as follows. What happens when three roommates accidentally acquire powerful magical weapons destined for someone else? What happens when the aforementioned someone else's fall from grace and public favor in the aftermath? What happens when you've suddenly found yourself as the hero to someone else's story? The fourth and final challenge is named for Donnelly Clayton, where one is supposed to read a SFF book with a cunning and ambitious black protagonist. For this challenge, I went between physical comics and webcomics by picking an e-comic from my library entitled Prince of Cats. This hip-hop retelling of William Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet focuses on Tybalt, divisively referred to as the Prince of Cats, and his Capulet crew as they do battle nightly with the hated Montagues, set in a Blade Runner-esque version of Brooklyn. And that's all she wrote. I certainly need to organize my black authors, artists, read, and to-be-read lists a bit better. There's a lot more comics out there, even if I was initially struggling. And what are your favorite black comics? Bye y'all, keep reading, and resist white supremacy. And as always, Literally Graphic is recorded on the traditional territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation and Anishinaabe people, the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, and the Huron-Wendat Nation. I live here because of British colonization, indigenous genocide, and more geographically specific, Treaty 13, also known as the Toronto Purchase, which was finalized in 1805 between representatives of the Crown and certain Mississauga peoples. This treaty was a lie and has since been broken many times over. Saying so reflects only my own small steps towards knowing the truth and does nothing for reconciliation.